Today we are starting our next skill builder. This skill builder is going to be mixing paint and color mixing. So I want you to open up your sketchbook to the planning or the skill builder section in the quarter 2 section of your sketchbook. So quarter 2, skill builder, and your sketchbook. Go to the first page and I want you to title that Tempera Paint Color Mixing. We're going to start with using tempera paint, which are in these bottles that you have been using that are over on the counter by the sink. There are a couple of definitions that I want you to have before we get started mixing paint. So at the top of that page, kind of small, make sure to leave a lot of room at the bottom. I want you to write the word primary and colors. So primary colors are colors that cannot be made by mixing other colors. So colors that can't be made. So our primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. The second term I want you to know is secondary colors. And those are colors that are made by mixing two primary colors. And those are purple, green, and orange. And then the last term that I want you to know is complementary colors. And those are colors that are opposite on the color wheel. So if you look at the color wheel that's on the board and you look at the colors that are opposite, you'll see you have red and green, blue and orange, and purple and yellow. So make sure you have these definitions written down in your sketchbook before you get started. You might want to pause the video here to make sure that you have this information down. So we're going to jump right into color mixing. We're going to start by putting down some primary colors onto your page. So I'm going to write a P for primary, and I'm going to draw 2 boxes. So I'm going to start with red and blue. So here's where you're going to want to pause. You're going to want to grab one piece of magazine paper out of the drawer. It's the bottom drawer by the paints on the counter. And on that magazine paper, you're going to want to put a little bit of each primary color. So I have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of white. I would rather you need to go get more than get too much and end up wasting paint. And you're also going to need a paintbrush and a cup of water. Okay, so now that I have all of my materials, I am going to start by putting down some primary colors onto my paper. So I'm going to draw a P for primary, and I'm going to draw a small square. And I'm going to start with the color red, and then I'm going to draw another square, another P for primary color, and I'm going to do blue. So I want to make sure you don't have a lot of water in your paintbrush. So squeegee that water out on your paper towel. Grab a little bit of your paint and put it in that square. You don't need a ton, doesn't need to be perfect. I'm gonna clean out my brush, and again, make sure I don't have a lot of water in my brush. It'll make your paint really watery and runny, and the color not as vibrant. So I picked up a little bit of blue, and I'm gonna paint that square blue. So then I'm going to make a secondary color by mixing my two primary colors. So blue is a lot darker than red. So I'm going to take more red with just a small amount of blue. And I'm going to get this purplish color. So I'm going to paint, might want to add a little bit more blue to that. So I'm going to paint this square that purple, and then I'm going to label it purple. I'm going to do this again with blue and yellow. Make sure you are labeling your squares so that you know what colors you're mixing. You might think you don't need it now, but you will. So a little bit of blue. And then I want to make sure I wash out my brush really well before I pick up that yellow, because if I have any blue left in my brush, it will show in the yellow. So yellow, and then I'm going to mix the blue and the yellow. So again, more yellow, just a little bit of blue is my secondary color of green. And then we're going to do that again with yellow and red. Makes orange. All right, so once I have that finished, I want to add a complementary color and white to each color. So the complementary color of purple is yellow, right? Because it's opposite on the color wheel. So I'm going to put yellow here because that's the complement. And then over here, I'm going to mix my purple with some yellow. And you can experiment with amounts. And you'll see that I get kind of this grayish purple. All right. And then, after I clean out my brush and squeegee it a little bit, I'm going to add some white to the purple. And I'm going to put a little bit of white paint here. So we have complementary and we have white. Again, make sure you're labeling your boxes. So here I'm going to add the complementary color of green, and I'm going to add white. So white to some of my green gives me this like pale green. And then the complementary color of green is red. So if I add a little bit of red to the green, I'm going to make some more green and add some more to that red. You want it more green than I do red. So I get kind of this deeper grayish green. Again, I'm going to add a little bit of red there because that's the complementary color of green. So green plus red equals this color. Green plus white equals that color. And I'm going to do that for orange. So the complementary color of orange is blue. So I'm going to take the orange that I have already mixed and I'm going to add just a tiny bit of blue. And it makes a darker orange. And then I need to remix some more orange here. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. And I have a lighter orange. Your colors might not look exactly like mine because you might have different amounts, and that's okay. So then at the bottom of this page, or if you need to go on to the next page, that's okay too. I want you to do this again with your primary colors. So I'll have red plus the complementary color and plus white. So red, the complementary color of red is green. I'm going to add some green to my red. And I get this kind of, I think I need some more green. Get this kind of deeper red. And then I'm going to add some white to my red, and I get pink. I'm going to do that for blue. I'm going to add the complementary color of blue. So blue, the complementary color of blue is orange. I need to mix up some more orange. So blue with some orange. Kind of gives me this like brownish color. And then blue with white. Gonna give me a light blue. And then lastly, I'm going to do the same thing with yellow. Yellow plus the complementary color plus white. So yellow, complementary color of yellow is purple. I have some purple mixed up. And then yellow plus white. So you'll notice that adding yellow to the white makes it brighter and less translucent and more opaque, so you can't quite see through it as much. So if you're finding that your yellow is just too thin, add a little bit of white to it. All right, so make sure you have this done and you're done with the first step of the color mixing skill builder.